Okay. Problem number 2215. Find the difference of two arrays given two zero-indexed integer arrays, nums1 and nums2. Return a list answer of size 2, where answer at index 0 is the list of all distinct integers in nums1, which are not present in nums2, and answer index 1 is a list of all distinct integers in nums2, which are not present in nums1. Note that the integers in the list may be returned in any order. Okay, so from what I'm hearing and looking at the function that they have, so we're going to have two arrays, and then we're going to be returning an array of arrays. So what we want to do is, in the first array, we want to check, we want to get the distinct numbers. So the numbers that are in array 1 shouldn't be in array 2, and vice versa. The distinct numbers in array 2 are the ones that aren't found in array 1. Okay. And then we return both arrays in an array as our solution. All right, so example 1, we have nums equals an array 1, 2, 3, and nums2 equals an array 2, 4, 6. And our output is 1 and 3 for the first array, and 4 and 6 for the second array. For nums1, nums at index of 1 equals 2 is present at index 0 of nums2, whereas nums at index 0 is 1, and nums1 at index 2 is 3 are not present in nums2. So in our array 1, 2, 3, we can see already that the 2 is in the second array. So if we remove that, we're left with 1 and 3, which we have here. And if we check here, 2, 4, 6, the 2 is found in nums1, so we remove that and are left with 4 and 6. So that's how we get the two different arrays of distinct numbers, and then we return the array, both arrays in an array. Okay, so second example, we have 1, 2, 3, 3, and then we have 1, 1, 2, 2. So we are going to return 3, or the output is 3, and then an empty array. And that is because 1 and 2 are found in here, and it's just 3. And 1 in nums2, 1 and 2 are found in nums1. So there are no distinct integers in this array. All right, so I already can tell we're using a set, because even the output only returned 1, 3. So we want the, and it keeps using distinct, so unique numbers, which a set would be perfect for. So we can turn nums1 and nums2 into sets. So we want the unique numbers. So if we turn them into sets, that will remove the duplicates that are seen in example 2. Does it say anything about using new arrays? Okay, so we have our first step. We'll create the sets, and then we can append. We can loop through and then append. We can loop through for I in nums1. If the number is not found in the second set, then we append it to our array. Do the same for the second set, and then we return those two in an array. So let's do first thing first. Okay, so we need to change these into sets first. So let num set 1 equal, and since we just have a nums, we can just do set nums 1. And we can do the same for set 2, num set 2 equals set. So this is just changing the array that is being passed in into a set, and then the set, like I said, it will change. It will make the elements in our array unique. So we have that, and then we can do two new arrays. For this is where when we're looping, we will add the numbers, the unique numbers, right? Let me be more specific here. var new nums 2. Okay. We can do this, and then we can just return. So we're going to do this and new nums 1, and then new nums 2. So we're returning our two new arrays in an array. So that will be what we return, and now we just have to loop. So for our loop, we want to do for I, and then we're gonna loop through our new set. Set 1. And then we're gonna do the same for set 2. We will fill them in with code. So num set 2. Okay. So in our loop, all we want to do is, while we're looping through our first set, we want to compare I to see if the number is included in set 2. If it's not included, then we append that I into our array. So we can just check if it contains, so we can do if nums 2 new nums set if nums set 2 contains, we want to if it doesn't contain, so we can do that, and then we can, if it doesn't contain I, then we want to append to our array, right? So we're going to be looping through nums 1. If I is not contained in our nums 2, then we just append that to our new array. Okay, we can do the same thing here. If nums set 1 contains I, if it doesn't contain I, then we can do new nums 2. We just append the I, and this should work. So it's not a nested loop, it is 2 for loops. So I imagine that would affect the time complexity and the space complexity. So it's not going to be O, it's not going to be O-N, it's going to be, and it's not going to be O to like the power O squared or O-N squared. So probably N plus M. That sounds great. Okay. So 1, okay. I don't think we need any hints. Yeah, it's already doing that. Okay, so maybe this is what they're expecting, because it sounds like they're doing 2 loops here anyways. Find num2 in scope. Find num set 2 nums. Excuse my spelling. Okay. So it does work for the limited test cases. So let's go and submit it and see what we get and how long it takes. Okay. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. 7 milliseconds beats 40%. So it's pretty efficient. Let us look at some solutions and see how others are doing it. Find the difference of 2 arrays. Okay. So yeah, the space and time complexity for this one is also O(n plus m). They're using sets, but they are using an array subtracting, which is pretty simple, pretty straightforward for this one. So it's pretty much the subtracting gives us all the elements that were not in the second set. And then they're wrapping it in an array because that's what is expected to be returned, since we changed it into a set here. Pretty cool. Okay, runtime 0. Okay, so they're doing a set and then also return it into an array. They have an empty array. So they're removing and then appending. Pretty similar. Okay, same subtracting. Form union. I don't think I've heard of that. I've used this before. So I would keep track. I'll save it and look it up after this. So this is the solution we came up with that pretty much works for question 2215.